Hello YouTube, my name is Vaj of the S and welcome back to Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. Last time we did Hyrule Field and today we're going to be doing Eldin Caves. As you can see, I already have the next stage unlocked. Mostly because I already recorded this. Except, you know, I kinda, sorta, well, it kinda sorta, the gameplay footage got corrupted. So, we're going to do it again. Obviously, we're going to do the same thing as we did last time. Let's play with Miss Impa. Or start with Impa, I should say.
After an arduous battle, Link and his comrades slew King Dodongo, but the beast was only ever intended as a distraction. The army of monsters had taken Hyrule Castle. Worse, after the dust had settled, Princess Zelda was nowhere to be found. Impa and Link searched the battlefield for any sign of her, but to no avail. Although the battle had been lost, Impa foresaw Link's importance to the coming war. She bestowed upon him a green tunic, the sign of the legendary hero. Link did not believe himself worthy of the honor, but he was determined to help Impa and her remaining soldiers locate Zelda. Weeks passed. Impa heard a rumor that a handful of soldiers were holding out against the monsters in Faron Woods. The leader of this resistance was supposedly a young woman. Impa dared to hope that this unknown woman was Zelda. Link and Impa decided to make their way to the forest by way of the Eldin Caves, a path with its own dangers.
So the audio file getting corrupted kind of put a whole big strain on what I was going to do. Because today, for example, now it would suppose I was going to be doing a Breath of the Wild Link, Champions Link moveset potential list that I would like to do, you know, but unfortunately, you know, let's get, like usual, let's get just these things here. Did not want to get the bombs already. So the Eldin Caves are basically just one giant escort mission. I do, however, know the location of a side quest that is actually given to you throughout the main mission. So like before, oh yeah, the last time I did, like I immediately eliminated like a bunch of these guys and showcase like why I like to play Impa, just because of that move right there. It's such a good move, just a fun move to use, and it's probably going to be one of my most utilized moves while playing Hyrule Warriors with Impa, because it's such a good area of effect move. Look at this, we already have over 100 kills. And we basically only used one move. Well, and where Link's at, there's also a bunch of enemies. There's one with an HP bar, or there was one with an HP bar, I guess. And so that we get, because I've already done it, I'm gonna show you guys where the Skulltula will be. It will be right here. Whenever you have it, it will be right around here. So let's get this outpost right off the gate, and boom. You know, today, the day of this recording is the royal wedding. I turned out the TV to play this and I'm like, oh yeah, the wedding is already taking news, the front page of the news. And on one side I'm like, mostly because it's a wedding and I don't really care about it. I only care if it's family, like everybody else. But, or most people should. I mean, come on, look at all the hoopla that's going around because of the royal wedding for countries that are not even a part of England or the UK. Jesus, I'm from Portugal. We should not be talking this much about the royal wedding. We don't have a royal family anymore. Technically we do, but we don't talk about it. Okay, so, oh, we already succeeded in our main mission. But it's also, it's funny for me because in Portugal, like in the last, since Tuesday, we've been having the same news story going around, and that news story kind of made sense for it to go around because it's one of the craziest things to happen in my country, like ever, you know? And to basically put the gist on the story of what's been going around here, it's been mind-boggling to some points as to how we got there. It's been in football league, you know, you could say there's three major clubs in our country. Like most countries, we have major clubs, like the ones that win most amount of championships and the ones that win the most amount of cups. And one of those clubs, has not had the best track record since, as much as they want to pretend that my club is the one that has been a corrupt kind of club. I mean, unfortunately in my country, practically every single club is, you know, dirty and corrupt in some way, shape or form, which is very unfortunate and very, very shitty. Let's put it that way. They've been one of the major clubs that have been fighting against the corruption and the truth in sports, and well, on Tuesday they took a major hit on that when they started being investigated for corruption in handball. I believe that's the term you also said. It is also said in English. I don't know. And 11-player football. You know, European traditional football. But if that was it, you would think, well, that doesn't seem like much. Why has it been on the news for most, if not all, hours of over the past couple of days? Well, it's not just because of that. Because in the football, in the main, what would be their main bread and butter, why most people are fans of them, there's been an even bigger shit show. And let's just put it this way. In a very simplistic terms, they finished, not the simplistic terms, it's the truth. They finished third in the football league. So, because of how crappy the Portuguese teams have been doing over the past 5 years, I believe, we only have two teams on the Champions League, which is Europe's biggest football competition. And that cost them a crap ton of money. But into a way, it cost them, I believe, if they had qualified, not just being there, but were able to qualify, which, let's be honest, most of these are just formalities, the qualifiers. It's one of the reasons why I hate the way the next European Cup is going to be. And the World Cup is mostly because it's like countries and areas that don't deserve to have more teams and more spots will have. And that's what basically the qualifiers for the Champions League most of the time are. It's just places, countries, and that don't have that much of a history of done a lot, or when they are in these competitions like the Champions League, they don't win or don't play as well or don't do as well. Like look at the World Cup. Supposedly, like the next World Cup is going to be 23 teams because Asia and Africa want more spots. You know, we're going to go from 32 teams to even more. I forget how many there will be, but like just because African and Asian countries want more representation, and it's like, why do you want more representation? Why do you deserve more representation? Over like people made a math of like they have like 3 or 4 teams going to the 32, the last 16. In the last 16 years, it has like abysmal numbers when it came to that. But going back to the things that are going on in the country, there might have been, not that there might have been, there was, after they lost the game that made them go to 3rd place, some fans went to the parking lot where the team was, or the players' cars are, and intimidated the players, simply put. And you know, they wanted to fight, and they even said to one of the players, "We'll see you Tuesday on the training facilities that they have." And after the cutscene that we're gonna have right here, I'll continue that story of showing us how fucked up sports is in Portugal. And like I said in my first recording, we've killed over thousands of these guys, literally. And a couple of them are surrounding us, 2 main characters and some of our main guy, or one of our soldiers, and we are cowering away because we're afraid of them, I guess. The princess isn't dead. You'll reunite with her at some point during your journey, but not quite yet. You can call me Sheik. It's a name that comes from the Sheikah tribe. They were servants of the Hylian royal family. The Sheikah tribe? That's impossible. We can talk more once we get out of this cave. For now, let me join you. Although Sheik says she'll join us, we can't really access her right away. Okay, so Impa, I want you to go here, and I'll control Link. Nope. I'll control Link because there is an area that I'm gonna need to go to with Link around here. That is not only a side quest, but also something that I didn't do the last time that I wanted to do. So what was I on what's going on? Oh yeah, after they lost and they got the players. So after that, the supposedly fans of that team, they're the worst type of fans, unfortunately. They went and even threatened the players like, "We'll see you Tuesday on your training site, on the training site of the club." Well, on Tuesday, I was even recording Xenoblade Chronicles, and it's actually episode 61. There will be a cut in one of the cutscenes. You'll notice like there's a slight cut. That happened mostly because my uncle called me to go see what was going on. And let's just put it this way. 50 people entered the training grounds for this team, invaded the training grounds, and went there to, well, beat up the players. Literally beat up the players. There was a picture of one of the players that had like wounds on his head, like pretty serious wounds. He was bleeding. He was crying from the pain, and then like we got reports of like the players, like him, the guy that was the picture of, asking the coach like, what did we do to deserve this and shit like that. And it's embarrassing. It was a shitty thing that those guys did. But it gets, somehow you would think it would get better. No, it gets worse, because you know, they already were having trouble for a month, the president of the club, but the players and the football team. And oh, right here it would have been no, this is not the fire rod. I forget what it was here. I believe it was a heart for Impa. He's already had it. Link can do whatever he wanted. Okay, so now let's go to the next part of the main mission, which would be go through where? Oh yeah, nowhere to go. But yeah, president having trouble with the club, or with the team, with the main football team, accusing them of like not wanting to play certain matches after they lost with in a European competition against. Let's be honest, as much as he wanted to make some issues, it was with a team that was, you know, superior to them. And since then there was a bit of tension between the players and the president. But on Monday there had been a team meeting gathering between the president and players and the coaches and all that stuff. And on that Monday, not on that Monday, on Tuesday, the Tuesday of the attack, he and one of his right-hand men called for a team meeting of everybody. A team meeting happening a day after the previous team meeting. So, you know, a lot of team meetings going around, it seemed. But that guy, one of his right-hand men, and him did not show up for that meeting that they called, despite, you know, calling the team meeting. Okay, now Sheik is playable, and I want to go there, but let's see what... Okay, Impa, you should have already taken this. Okay, let's see what Link can do. If I can get to Link... I'm doing a better job of explaining what happened. I'll fully admit it. Where was I? Team problems between coach or president, team, and managers and all that stuff. They didn't show up for the team meeting that they had, and then this attack happens. Also, funnily enough, the right-hand man for the president had shown up at every single team that when the team was training every single day, except for this one. And you know, kind of weird that the one he doesn't show up is the one where all this stuff happens, and he's also the one that's being investigated for corruption in handball and football by buying results and buying teams and buying players. Jesus Christ, game. And since then, it's basically all the news. It's been like coming out, like apparently the coach has proof that the president is involved in these attacks, that he knew and allowed the guys that came in here or came into the club to beat up the players and the coaches and managers and all that stuff. There was even, although it wasn't too much, one of the guys, one of the team doctors was in fact stabbed. So not much, not a major stab wound, but he was stabbed. So that puts you into perspective. The players were beaten up again. Like one of the guy had the guy that I told you that had the wounds on his forehead that was crying. He had, what was it? They punched and kicked him. The coach, a 60-something-year-old man, got punched in the nose and hit with a belt. These all by supposedly people that support the team. But trust me, it gets somehow it gets worse. Because not only, the president allegedly had knowledge of what was happening, but on the day of the attacks, he went on TV, on the club's TV, to simply say, oh well, it was a bother. Most people have been saying it's one of the worst acts of, like, how can you say that? Your players were attacked, threatened with death if they don't win on Sunday, the Portuguese National Cup, and all you can say is that it was a bother? Your players could have gotten, and most of them got seriously hurt. A lot of them got seriously hurt. Most of them are already considering like leaving the club for real, for good, and not returning ever. And your response is it was a bother? It's one of the worst things I've ever seen, I think. And it's an act of pure cowardice. And like, then we hear the coach of like, he might have evidence that the president is responsible for it, and he's gonna present it to the police in case like the president doesn't accept his resignation letter. It's been one crazy couple of days here in Portugal, just hearing, and like it gets worse and worse every day. They already lost sponsors. They already lost what was it? There was another thing that they lost outside of the sponsors. Okay, now we're gonna get introduced, our first real introduction to Wizrow, and I wanted to finish this outpost before going back to fight Wizrow. I believe this is the last thing I have to do here. Yeah, there it is, the chest for a Link. Let's see, where are all the things? There it is. And now not only are the coaches and players all wanting to leave, the president doesn't want to. Oh, it was a heart piece. Okay, doesn't want to resign, despite the fact that most of his team has resigned in terms of not managers, but the staff, the directorial staff. You know, most of them have quit. It's just funny that he insists on staying in the club, despite all the stuff that's going on. Despite the fact that he believes that he's doing this for the best of the club, unlike everybody's like, no, you're killing the club. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if in the next couple of weeks or days, like the club lost a lot more than just not a handful, all of their players. Which is a shame, because although they're like you know, like sports rivalries are a thing everywhere, they are one of the main rivals of my club. It still a shame that this would happen, you know, and like it, what I find, you know, while I don't enjoy it, it's particularly funny, is like they have been the club that throughout most of the past years have been the ones that like, oh no, we are pro truthness in sports. We don't want corruption in the world of sports. We want to prove that some clubs are corrupt. Mostly mine trying to prove that we are corrupt, and even in things that are proven not to be corruption, they've attacked us on that. Stuff like the gifts that are given to coaches by, or not to coaches, by to referees, by every team in the world basically, as and proven to be not illegal despite what they tend to be, or what they say it is, as evidence that we are corrupt and stuff. It's in a way funny that the club that the most for the past like 5 years has been the most pro technology in sports, so that we have less and less of referee mistakes and stuff like that, be the club that right now is the one that's being not just investigated, but like already one of the guys been arrested and suspended from his positions, in not allowed to even go near the team, the club's stadium. Jesus, Wizrow this time is a lot harder because I don't have magic. Come on, Wizrow, just die. Now, it's been a couple of days where that was basically the only topic of discussion around the country, with most news outlets just focusing on that for their news. And the worst thing about this is like the president can be blamed for a lot of the stuff that's happening with the club, and the only thing he can say is that the club is being victim of one of the most horrendous targets, attacks, both from the inside and outside. You know, they already lost 2 sponsors already as well, so like they have to me the thing that sticks out the most is like it was a bother. Like the family's calling to know if everyone was okay, having his wife worried about him if he was a part of the attack, despite the fact he was not in the training grounds for some reason. But to come out and say stuff like it's a bot, it's been a bot, it's been a bad day, it's like, and going with crime is just a natural part of our lives and we have to live with it, is also appallingly disgusting. You know, to say that type of stuff, and we have to learn to live with it. It's one of the craziest things I've ever heard, which I find funny because again, him and the club have been one of the most, the ones that are the most against corruption, and it's like, okay, if you are so against corruption, you cannot say that crime is something you're going to have to live with every day. You know, and what was it? One of the guys that's in trial right now because they're already being presented in front of a judge because out of the 50, 23 have been captured. Some of them have gone to say like, oh, our objective was never to go there and beat up the players. What we were there going to do was go to the players and talk to them. And somehow this got out of hand. It's like, yeah, somehow it got out of hand. Somehow you guys beat the living crap out of the players. Somehow you hit a 60-something-year-old man with a belt and a punch to the nose. You know, because those are the type of things that just happen in the world of sports, and not just the sports, in the world today. You know, when I'm having a conversation with anybody, and sometimes it gets out of hand, I just, you know, punch him in the nose, because that's a fun thing to do, and then hit them with a belt, and hit people with lead pipes and all that stuff, because, you know, it's the fun thing to do. It's just a crazy situation going on. That me and my brother have talked about this. It's like if you had told me this was a book or a movie, I would have said it's a bad book and a bad movie because the story is insane. But yeah, I spent most of the episode talking about it, and here we're going back to it, and I just, because you know I already played this, so there wasn't really much to talk about. Not only have I played this stage, this is my second time playing this stage. It's also the second time. Not only have I played this stage a bunch of times already on the Wii U version, but it's my second time playing this on this stage in this version, so you know. And also last time I was doing it, I was at getting that chest for Link, but I couldn't. I was just near the chest trying to press A, even before this whole conversation began between the characters. It's like they locked me out of it, and like, ah, damn it! Just when I got there, and I was opening the chest again, I was like, nope, we're done. Thanks for playing though. And once again, I get the victory screen for Link, or the first time actually. Technically speaking, second time, because the last time was when I was playing it normally, so you know. Hopefully there won't be any issues with the recording. Oh, let's get all the things. Weapons for everybody. Oh yeah, and we got the fire rod for Link. We did do some of the stuff in the bazaar, but that was it. That was the Eldin Caves, and next time we'll be doing the Faron Wood. So I've been the Legend of the S. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you. Yeah, I've been the Legend of the S. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. I don't know why that took me so long to get it out.